Good morning for Charm TV. We're about to begin. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's Thursday, October 5th, 2023 docket. Mr. Chair, we have several items before you. Do you have any opening comments?
No, good morning, everyone. Let's get started.
All right. Item number 1 on today's docket has been postponed and will be scheduled for a future hearing of the board, which brings us to item number 2 on today's docket, Fayette Liquor LLC, trading as Fayette Liquor Plus. I saw they're out there, so somebody could go get Mr. Hurdle and his client. Premises are located at 1434 East Fayette Street. This is an application to transfer ownership and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
My clients are here. I followed them in. I'm not sure where they're sitting. Let me go see where they're
Okay. Losing your clients. That's a problem if you're a lawyer.
Big problem.
That is.
And if you want to, please push the button to make it light up.
Okay.
Thank you,
Identify
Commissioners.
yourself for the record, please.
Yes, Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Fayette Liquor Plus. Mr. Gurjat wanted to stand here. Mr. Gurjat Singh is standing to my right. He is the prospective licensee.
Are you going to have him testify?
I don't think I'm going to need to, but we can certainly look into that if that's something that the board would
Well,
like.
I just want to swear him if you were, but why don't you proffer?
Thank you. The board is, I believe, pretty familiar with this location. This location was subject to a padlock case over the summer. We've met with the police department and Mr. Chief Inspector Chris Amawas on a handful of occasions. This license was also protested, I believe, in April of this year, as a result of the exact same situation that led it to be a padlock case. In meeting with the police department, they asked us for various things, including to install new lighting, to try to cut down on the loitering in the area, install a fence in the back to prevent, I guess what they call is a cut-through, people kind of going from an area behind the store to the store. They asked us to install more cameras inside the location as well as outside the location and give them better access to those cameras. In addition, there were a couple other changes that they had suggested. One of them was a temporary security plan for the summer when students were out, because they thought that was something that could lead to some issues. And we did have security for a while during that time, which I believe helped out. We do have both the current and prospective licensee have had a padlock meeting set up, I guess a final padlock meeting. Everything's been met, but they wanted to sit down with the new person at least one time. And that was scheduled for next weekend, and I think it's going to be moved to the 27th. Mr. Gurjat currently works at the store, so he is familiar with the issues, he's familiar with the solutions. I've had extensive discussions with him about how things need to be run going forward. I've explained to him that the current way things have been run in the past has led to problems and that the board won't let that slide going forward. He understands how things are going. We met with the community at length. Magdalena Fitzsimmons, I believe, met with us a handful of times. We do have an MOU. It is unsigned by the community. There were some requests that she had, in all honesty, that we weren't comfortable with, which was restricting hours and some of the sales of particular items. Everything else is in line with the padlock case in terms of lighting, being an active participant in the community. So we will be able to submit that MOU signed from Ms. Fitzsimmons, I believe, in its current form. I do have an unsigned copy with me today I can provide to the board.
And will he agree to have those terms be part of the license?
Absolutely.
And is he alcohol certified?
I believe he has taken the alcohol awareness class.
Yes.
Okay. And everyone else who's going to handle alcohol will also be certified?
Correct.
Okay. And that he's aware that they've had problems with sales to minors?
They have had a couple of problems. That wasn't the source of any of the issues regarding the padlock case. So we're hopeful that that issue, perhaps alone, has been resolved in its entirety. The store has taken significant effort to move all alcohol products behind glass at this time. It's my understanding that they're toying with a focus where they're not going to let minors into the store, but the store does do groceries and does have food stamps and EBT programs, so they're concerned about people needing to buy fresh vegetables and things along those, and along that lines.
Is it large enough to separate these things?
Yes, so it's all behind the counter, all the alcohol is currently. So it makes it causes them to have to take an extra step to create this problem.
Okay. Anything else?
If I may
Commissioner?
submit that,
No questions for me.
Yeah, we'll receive a copy, and then you can submit a signed memorandum when you have it.
and there is a blank for hours. Ms. Fitzsimmons had asked us to open at 8 a.m. I think the license allows them to open earlier. My client does open at 8 a.m. We're still looking to have the MOU say 7, but probably open at 8 anyway. It just allows us more variables in terms of operating the rest of the
Do you
location.
think they will sign it once you make that amendment to 7 o'clock?
I had emailed her the other day because she had asked about the 7 a.m. change to 8. And I said that typically my clients don't agree to hours change because it puts them at a disadvantage. I spoke to Mr. Gurjot after that, and he indicated that they open no earlier than 8 the 6 days a week that they're open. They do typically don't even stay open till midnight, which the MOU does indicate. Most of the time, it's 10 and 11. But by having the opportunity, should the business environment change, they want to be able to take advantage of the time.
Okay, anything further?
Nothing
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the extensive proffer from council, and in light of the situation that's going on with the police department overseeing this location, and the community involvement, the MOU that whose terms will be made part of the license once it's fully executed, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, based on materials and proffer from the attorney, the communication with the community and the MOU, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the A beer, wine, and liquor license and the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based on the materials provided and the proffer made by council and the anticipated MOU with the community, I too vote to approve this application to transfer this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Ms. Russell?
Medical exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit Number 1, Draft MOU.
All right, thank you. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 3 on today's docket is a secured creditor, no trade name. Premises are located at 2501 Fleet Street, and this is a request for a 180-day hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-2202.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conkling Street, Baltimore, for the applicant. Mr. Chairman, I represent the secured creditor, John Zorges trustee, Norino and Tamburino LLC, and Norino Properties LLC are secured creditors. We filed a substitute application back in the summer, and I filed a timely request for this extension. My clients are diligently trying to sell this license. Thought he had a sale last week, but didn't materialize. So we're asking for an additional 180 days just to allow my client the ability to recoup the funds he lent to the prior licensee.
Do the commissioners have any questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harvey, on the basis of your letter to the board of August 18, 2023, as well as your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 180-day hardship extension for this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Yes, based on materials and proffer from the attorney and also the letter from the attorney, I vote to approve the request for hardship extension of 180 days.
Based on the proffer made by council and the letter dated August 18, 2023, I also vote to approve this request for hardship extension for 180 days.
Thank you, Chairman.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits, no exhibits for the record.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council is aware that 12-2202 does not allow for the hardship to extend beyond 360 days from the date of closure. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 4 on today's docket 6700 German Hill Libations LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 6700 German Hill Road. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. And please note that I believe the chair is recusing himself from this
Yeah, I'm
matter.
going to recuse myself, so the other commissioners will rule.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Chair, you identify yourself?
Thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant. I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, very briefly. You may not be aware of 6700 German Hill Road. It's way on the other side of town from where you used to represent. But it is an old building, and all of these buildings are in various states of repair and disrepair, and this one's pretty bad. And you guys may know that the International Fire Code changes every couple of years. So they've had multiple inspections, multiple failures, finally getting some approvals. They were approved by this board on March 23rd, which means their 180 days expired on September 19th. Due to ameliorating the conditions in the building to pass the inspections, we are asking for 90 days from September 19th, which by my calculation is December 22nd. Thank you.
So is that city inspections regards to
Yes.
building and health and fire?
That's correct. They just, I mean, for example, it took them like 4 times to get the mechanical inspection passed. And so sometimes on these old buildings, 180 days is just not enough. And that's why we've got this law. But thank you.
Okay, any questions?
No questions.
No questions? Okay, based on the materials and letter from the proffer from the attorney, I vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Thank you.
Based on the proffer made by council and the September 7th letter that was submitted by council, I also vote to approve this request for a transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Thank you, Commissioners.
No exhibits for the record.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 5 on today's docket, Savoy Management Services LLC, trading as Club Pussycat. Premises are located at 411 East Baltimore Street, and holders of both a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and a Class AE adult entertainment license. And this is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-1705B for both.
Good morning. Are you Miss Yu? I mean, Ms. Savoy? I was saying, Mr.
Mr.
Yu
Yu
is.
is parking. He says he's trying to find out, he's all 3 parking spaces are
Do you want us to
filled.
wait, or can you tell us
We
what's
can-
holding
we can
things
wait,
up?
but I was waiting on, originally the inspections. That was holding up a lot of things, and then we had plumbing problems. But he has, I'd rather let him
Well,
speak.
do you think the transfer can occur in the next 90 days?
Yes, it can.
Okay. But I don't know that we need to wait. Do you have any questions?
No.
I have no questions.
All right. All right, Ms. Savoy, on the basis then of Mr. Yu's letter to the board of September 14, 2023, requesting this extension to complete tax clearance, use and occupancy permits, and other matters that you had suggested, plumbing issues, I vote to approve on the basis of your testimony. And I'm sorry, I should have sworn you in. Can we swear her in retroactively?
Yes. Do you want me to state something along the lines of what you said?
Please.
Do you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you've given was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
I'm going to adopt your testimony. It was my failure. I should have had you sworn before I spoke to you. But anyway, I approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and Class AE adult entertainment license.
Yes, based on the materials, the testimony, the licensee, I vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days for the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and the Class AE adult entertainment license.
Based on your statement made today in Mr. Yu's letter dated September 14, 2023, I also vote to approve this transfer hardship extension for 90 days of this Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and Class AE adult entertainment license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you, Ms. Savoy.
Do I wait for paperwork, or is he gonna get it?
That concludes this matter before the board. You don't actually receive any paperwork, but please be aware that the law, and Mr. Yu will tell you this, the law does not permit you to go beyond 270 days from your board hearing. So Mr. Yu, I'm sure, will know what to do if, God forbid, something were to happen, but you can let him know that the board approved you.
All right, thank you. Have a nice day.
Good luck.
Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 6 on today's docket, Show You Canton Incorporated, trading as Sushi Brucia. Premises are located at 1634 Alisana Street, holders of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, and this is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Article 12-1705B.
Morning.
Good morning. Drew Tilden of Rosenberg Martin Greenberg here on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined today by Bruce Lee, who is the individual licensee applicant. With the board's permission, I would like to proceed by way of proffer.
You may.
All right, thanks so much. On March 23rd, 2023, the board approved the application to transfer ownership of the subject license. The applicant has since diligently pursued the transfer, but due to delays in not only inspections, but also permitting, they were not able to obtain their sales and use tax license nor their trader's license prior to the September 18th, 2023 expiration of the board's approval. I'm happy to say that we now have the trader's license in hand. We just got a hold of it this morning, so we anticipate completion of the transfer within the next few days.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, Ms. Tilden, thank you. On the basis of your letter to the board of September 18, 2023, and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve the 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Yes, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days for B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you, Ms. Tilden. Based on your proffer today and your letter on September 18, 2023, also vote to approve this transfer hardship extension of this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license for 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall we move on to the violations docket,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? Turning to violations, item number 1 on today's violations docket, Suwa Lighthouse Company Incorporated, trading as Club Bar. Premises are located at 1609 Lawrence Street, holders of a Class A7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and the licensee is charged with 1 violation of the board's rules stemming from an incident on July the 20th, 2023, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Your Honor, please, Frank Solis representing the licensee.
Mr. Schultz, will this be an admission or a denial?
We're going to admit, Your Honor, with an explanation.
Okay, give us your explanation, please.
Well, with mitigation, with an explanation.
I understand.
There's no explanation, I understand. But the mitigation is that this place, for the period 2017 to 2019, had violations. They had 3 in a short time. Since 2019, they have been very clean. They've cleaned up their action. And the lady that actually did the serving has reattended an alcohol program, and she's here today and has her certificate. I ask you to show some consideration for 4 years of good management and continuing good management after this.
Okay. Anything further?
I don't think so.
I didn't swear you, but I just want to know if they were cooperative with you.
They were.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioners have any questions?
No question.
One question. You said the lady that did the serving is,
Attended alcohol
okay,
again.
okay.
If you'd like to ask.
No, I have no questions for you.
Has her certificate.
Okay,
No
thank
trouble,
you.
sir.
On the
Okay.
basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, and any testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4. And on the basis of the admission by counsel, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sale to minor, on July 20, 2023. I appreciate the fact that they have been careful for the last 4 years, but they do not have a great record, so I would impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay.
Yes, based on materials and testimony proffered from the attorney. I also agree with the chair's findings, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 20th, 2023, and also the fine of $500.
Based on the proffer given by council, I too find that there's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 20th, 2023, and also impose a fine of $500 and 30 days of pay.
Ms. Russell?
Like those exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Tuttle.
Thank you, Mr. Shawless.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to pay the penalty imposed by the board today and any attendant administrative fees that go along with that. And shall we be ready to move forward, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Item number 2 on the violations docket. Bacchus Bar and Liquors Incorporated, trading as Bacchus Bar and Liquors. Premises is located at 1220 West North Avenue, holders of a Class A7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and is charged with several violations of the board's rules, all stemming from the same incident on July 20th, 2023, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, violation of Rule 3.06B, license on display and presented upon request, and a violation of Rule 3.02, cooperation.
Good morning.
Frank Shawless, representing the licensee.
Admissions or denials, Mr. Shawless?
I'm sorry.
Admissions or denials?
Well, there's no use denying anything, so I admit it.
Okay.
And admission.
All right. Are you going to have testimony, or are you going to proffer?
I'm going to give you a proffer,
All right.
a little more lengthy than the last one. I'm associated with this place for a long time. Earlier in the year, there was a fire 2 doors away. They sprayed down her building, went through the brick and soaked the place, and she had a long pending insurance claim, which I've been involved in. She's also been under construction since that time. As far as the license, the liquor license not being on the wall, it was right outside the bar area in a box. And the reason it was there is because they were doing the floor and the walls. So that's what it was. As to the lack of cooperation, this guy, it's about closing time. He's got 4 people in the store, and then the police run in, four people, inspectors and all. And his words through a translator were, "I was scared to death." He said, "I thought there had been an accident or something." Not too long ago, there was a shooting about 2 doors away, things of that nature, and he was excited. He doesn't speak good English, and he didn't understand exactly what was happening or why they say he had to close. But I would call to the commission's attention, there's 5 letters of congratulations in there where they have complied and not served the minor.
All right. Well, the last sale of minor was in 2009, so it's been a long time.
I'm sorry.
The last time they had a violation of this rule was 2009. So it's been a
Well,
long
that
time.
too.
Yeah.
But 5 times they tried to do it, and
I understand.
They
Okay,
caught it.
Let me swear in our inspectors for a moment.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Got it.
Inspectors, did it appear that it was under construction at the time, that there was work going on there?
Yes.
Inspector, please, you have to go to the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Can you identify yourself, please?
Inspector Kenyatta Washington, and yes, it seems as though construction was being done.
And did the man that you were dealing with appear to be excited or antagonistic?
Commissioner, that has to be by far one of the worst inspection we did. I don't think he was excited. He was more aggressive. And I recommended to the chief inspector that no inspector should go there by himself. We go there to do a job. We don't go there to feel threatened.
I understand that, but you've got to put yourself in the place of this guy who doesn't speak English. He's got a store full of people and the police run in. There's just been a violent act a few days before 2 doors away, he doesn't know what's happening, and he can't express himself.
I'm
I-
somewhat sympathetic, Mr. Shawless, but we have to protect our inspectors, too. They have a difficult job.
There's no doubt about that, and I understand what the inspector's saying. I was a constable in Baltimore City for a long time.
So it's a balancing.
Yeah, I understand, but this guy is the same guy that didn't serve anybody 5 times. And he's been there. He's certainly not known for violence, although one time, as I mentioned to the commission before, somebody asked him to come out and hand him something. He was in a wheelchair. He stood up and stabbed the guy with a screwdriver. This is just some of the things that have happened to this gentleman. So I don't blame him for being a little excited, but I understand your point too.
Okay. Do commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right. Thank you, everyone. On the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, including the admissions of the violations and the testimony from the inspectors, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sale to minor on July 20, 2023, a violation of Rule 3.06B, failure to have the license on display and present upon request at the same date, and a violation of Rule 3.02 cooperation on July 20, 2023. This, they have a series of a history of violations, but there are no recent ones, and as you point out, it's been a long time since they had a sale to minor, and they've probably been somewhat careful, although this time this gentleman fell over and failed to live up to any of our standards. So as to each of the violations, I'd impose $250 fines for a total of $750, and I would give them 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
Yes, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of 4.01A sales to minors and a fine of $250, violation of Rule 3.06B, license on display and presented upon request, the fine of $250, and violation 3 of Rule 3.02, cooperation, and a fine of $250.
Based on the proffer made by counsel and testimony given today, and the admission that was made, I too find that there's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 20th, 2023, a violation of Rule 3.06B, license display and presented upon request, violation on July 20th, 2023, and a violation of Rule 3.02 cooperation on July 20th, 2023. I also impose a fine of $250 per violation and 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
Ms. Russell?
Next, call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Washington.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shaw.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to pay the fines imposed by the board and any attendant fees that goes along with that. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 3 on the violations docket, GNP LLC trading as New Edison Lounge. Premises are located at 3133 to 35 East Monument Street, holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and are charged with one violation of the board's rules, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, stemming from an incident on August the 9th, 2023.
Thank you. Good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensees. Admission.
Admission, okay. You got a proffer?
Yes, I sure will. I have Nishesh I have Praveen Bandari here. Nishesh, the manager, is in the back. We also have, you took your hat off. Yeah, we have Mr. Adhikari, who was the seller. And Mr. Adhikari, as you can see, this place is very new, and I always consider it, some matter of responsibility when I get a call from a client within a half an hour after getting this letter in the mail saying, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I grew up reading these choose your own adventure books where if you did one thing, you turn to one page, did something else, you turn to the next page. And that's what we have every time we have somebody sell to a minor. And so half the time you hear, oh, we fired her. The other half of the time, and it's the way I recommend highly, is that if that's a first offense for that person, that you retain that person. And then that person come down to City Hall and that person see what you put your business through because of a momentary lapse of responsibility. So, Mr. Adhikari, he understands that it's his conduct that brings everyone here today. And he feels pretty comfortable that he will never make that mistake again. So it certainly is a learning experience and a wake-up call for this business. And I do believe they were polite and cooperative.
Is that accurate? Inspector?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fogelman. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, and the admission on behalf of his client, excuse me, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sale to minor on August 9, 2023. As you indicated, Mr. Fogelman, it's a fairly new license. It's their first offense, so I'd impose a $250 fine and give them 30 days to pay. Next time will be much worse.
Okay, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on August 9th, 2023, with a fine of $250.
Based on the violation report, the proffer made by counsel today, I also rule that there is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, that happened on August 9th, 2023, and I impose a $250 fine with 30 days pay.
Thank you.
Ms. Russell?
My call is for the record, Board Exhibit 1, investigation report, Inspector Hope.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to pay the penalties imposed by the board today and any attendant fees that go along with it. Is the board ready to move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 4 on today's violation docket, not a document. PC1 Incorporated, trading as East Curly Liquor. Premises are located at 2921 East Monument Street and holders of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. And then licensee is charged with one violation of the board's rules, and that is violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors stemming from an incident on August 9th, 2023.
What is your name, sir?
Il-sun Cheng.
I'm sorry. What is your name?
Il-sun Cheng.
Can you raise your right hand, please?
Pardon me?
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Do you understand that you're charged with a sale to minor?
Yeah, I do.
Do you admit that you did that?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to tell us what happened that day?
Yeah. When I sell to minor person, the small viable miniature, when somebody I'm calling to somebody, and I didn't check his page, so I have a mistake, so I'm here.
Okay.
We
Were you the one who was involved in the sale back in 2019 as well?
No.
No? No, okay. All right, and were they cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No question.
No questions.
Okay. So, sir, on the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, your testimony today and your admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sale to minor on August 9, 2023. It's been 4 years since the last one, but this is not the first, so I would impose a $400 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
Okay, based on materials and testimony provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minor on August 9, 2023, along with a fine of $400.
Based on your testimony provided today and your admission, I too find that you violated Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on August 9, 2023, and impose a $400 fine and give you 30 days pay.
Ms. Russell?
My call is for the record, Board Exhibit number 1, investigation report, Inspector Brown.
Thank you, sir. Be careful.
That concludes this matter before the board. Witness has received instructions on how to pay the fine imposed by the board today and any fees that go along with that. Board ready to move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 5 on today's violations docket, Akeisha LLC, trading as Red Door. Premises are located at 625 to 27 North Glover Street. Holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and charged with one violation of the board's rules, and that is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, stemming from an incident on August the 9th, 2023.
Mr. Hurdle?
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Akeisha LLC, trading as the Red Door. Just as a matter of practice, can we waive reading going in future hearings? Is that something?
Waive reading.
Yeah, when Nick has to read everything.
I think because we are televising these and making a record, we probably need to keep doing it, but I understand what you're saying. Anyway, is this an admission or denial?
This is an admission.
Okay, you want to proffer?
Absolutely. I've spoken with the licensee and his employee, who is standing to my right. The licensee is here and his employee is here. Miss Sarah is not one of these two and couldn't be here today. She was out of town. Both the licensee and his employee are alcohol awareness trained, so I'm not sure what the issue is. When I spoke to them, they said that the person who had come in looked like a regular, and I explained to them that they needed to do better, because that's the only way to resolve this issue. All staffers will be retrained in alcohol awareness, including both the licensee and his staffer who's with me, as well as any other staffers. And they are looking into getting a point-of-sale system that can scan the IDs. So that should, in the future, every time a liquor transaction is brought up, it'll prompt them to scan an ID. It doesn't prevent them from just hitting a button to bypass it, but it should at least trigger another level of verification. It's my understanding that they were cooperative and polite with the inspectors.
Were they?
Always seems to be Inspector Tudhope, but she always does a good job, so I have no complaints.
I have to point out, I don't think this gentleman is old enough to be a regular, so.
I think someone else that they have looks like a regular.
Okay.
They confuse them with a regular.
All right. Commissioners have questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, and any testimony received, and as well as the admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sale to minor on August 9, 2023. It's the first offense. I would impose a $250 fine and give them 30 days to pay.
Based on materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on August 9th, 2023, along with a fine of $250.
Based on the proffer made by counsel today and the violation report submitted by inspector, I too find there's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on August 9th, 2023, and impose a $250 fine with 30 days to pay.
Ms. Russell?
Because it was for the record, Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are we excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to pay the penalties imposed by the board today, along with any attendant fees that go along with it. Shall we move forward to the
Yes.
final matter appears? Yes.
Please.
Item number 6 on today's violations docket. Blue Ink Corporation, trading as 212 Lounge. Premises are located at 2709 to 11 Washington Boulevard, and holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Licensee is charged with several violations of the board's rules, all stemming from the same incident on August the 4th, 2023, and that is a violation of Rule 3.03A, records for purchases of alcoholic beverages, violation of Rule 3.03C, records for employees, a violation of Rule 3.03D, I, records for trader's license, and a violation of Rule 3.06B, records for failure to have the liquor license on display.
Good morning.
Once again, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conkling Street, Baltimore, for the licensees, Ms. Howard and Blue Ink Corporation, trading as 212 Lounge.
Admissions or denials?
Well, let me just preface all of this with saying that I met with my clients last week, and I was retained to represent them this morning. Ms. Howard, I got a phone call this morning that she's ill and won't be able to attend. Now, she asked me to ask for a continuance with the COVID, reemerging. She didn't think it was prudent to be here this morning. I can proffer. There's a defense to this, although it may require some testimony, so.
Well, maybe we should continue it if you're going to have testimony, because
I mean, I can proffer what the,
if it's all right with you and your client, sure, go ahead.
okay, well, as I said, I met with my clients last week. What happened here was they had an employee who they fired, and the employee took it upon herself to take all of the licenses and permits off the wall and hide them. And then
After she was terminated.
yeah, and then she proceeded to call your offices incessantly to report them for not having these permits on the wall. So that's why I said you may need some testimony along these lines. They've been in business for 3 years. They've never had any violations whatsoever. And of course, in those 3 years, I'm certain that your inspectors have been through there probably a dozen or more times. This one particular thing came up because of a disgruntled employee, and that's what my client would testify. She'd also testify that she called your office to see what the story was, and I don't recall which one they said they spoke with at your office, but they were told that we've been receiving constant phone calls about this place not having licenses and permits on the wall. Well, you know, it more than likely was the same person who was fired. So anyway, that's what happened.
Well, let me hear from the inspector. Can you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So have you been there before, Inspector?
I have been there.
Were all these things on the wall before?
I don't recall if they were ever displayed on the wall.
No. But do you have any sense of what Mr. Harvey has just told me?
No, everything he said is new to me.
Oh, okay. So I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Did you get any reports from our office that we were getting calls about this place?
The reason for the social club task force visit was a permit check. So I don't know who put that in. Chief could tell you better, but that was the reason for our visit there.
Yeah, I mean, well, let me just ask, Mr. Bundy, are you aware that whether we were getting?
I can't specifically remember. I do know that when something ends up on the social club task force list, I believe that list of establishments comes out of the police department. But many agencies can put them on. I don't specifically recall.
I mean, it's a credible story, Mr. Harvey. We just don't have corroboration.
Well, I understand, and that's why I said maybe we should bring back my clients.
All right. Well, can we continue this, Mr. Bundy?
You are the board, sir.
No, I mean, when's the next time we have violations?
It probably would not be until November. The next docket, it's a very lengthy new transfer. We could put it on the next docket, which would post today,
Okay.
but if that,
Can you try and get your client here next time?
which would be the 14 days from today, the 19th.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Yes,
And maybe do a little investigation, see if you can find out who in our office got these calls,
Sure.
Yep.
so we can have them here. Okay. All right, thanks. We'll continue this until the next hearing.
This matter will be continued until the next hearing of the board on October 19th, 2023.
Thank you.
Then that concludes all business before the board.
Yeah, you want to read the adjournment, please?
Yes, sir. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City shall stand in recess until Thursday, October the 19th, 2023, here in City Hall, room 215, 100 North Holiday Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202.
All right, thank you to the commissioners, the staff, thanks to our cadets, and everybody who participated today. Root for the Orioles, and hopefully we'll be headed to the World Series when we see you next time.